The object is the most important moral determinant. And if a given object is evil, it cannot be made right. Acts can be judged as good in themselves, an object like almsgiving, wicked in themselves, like theft, or indifferent, like walking or talking. I can't judge the morality of that act by object. I need further information.
There's a Peregrine Falcon right on top of that fountain.
General object
That's amazing.
is implemented in the
Looks like a young one.
And around this, there are all kinds of incidental conditions. The philosophy would call these accidents, which is not an unforeseen event or something waiting to happen.
I think it just dropped the load.
It's a thing that has to exist in another thing. An example of an accident when it comes to morals would be place, a circumstance that stands around the action. Usually it doesn't matter whether I stand in this place, or this place, or this place when I commit murder. It's the same action according to the order of reason. But if I commit murder in a church, I add a further condition which is contrary to the order of reason, namely sacrilege. And my sin would, objectively speaking, be more a sin contrary to the commandments about God, the first three commandments.
Yeah. It takes about to take off.
About murder, because I have less respect for God in doing
this
deed. Normally, circumstances only affect actions by making them of a more or less character, although sometimes they can determine whether a sin is venial or mortal. They don't necessarily change the sin. For example, theft. To steal a tiny amount is a venial sin. To steal a great amount is a mortal sin. So circumstances also must be considered. Circumstances have to be considered because
these things
add a further constituting condition to reason. Let's take the example of John Paul II being contrary to capital punishment. John Paul II affirms in the Gospel of Life that capital punishment is an object according to the order of reason when it's done properly, of course, properly constituted by properly constituted officials, because the state has a right to invoke the death penalty. But he also says, because of modern prison conditions and things like that, the aggressor can be rendered incapable of causing harm.
I think he wants to drink water.
And also perhaps maybe open more to conversion. And also that the aggressor might have a fitting punishment in this regard because of the prison systems, and therefore it rarely, if ever, should be used. Now, is this a judgment of object? No, it's a judgment of circumstance. And the circumstances also have to be good. Let's take my example of natural family planning. In order to do natural family planning, you have to have a serious reason. Just because you want 3 cars isn't a serious reason. Serious reasons are things like the woman can't become pregnant again because her life might be threatened or something like that. And there's all kinds of issues in between. But the point is that circumstances do add a further condition to the act. They can make it worse. They can make it a different act. But they cannot, for example, change an evil act into a good act. These are 2 of the constituting conditions. I would like to also show you the fact that not all moral issues are of the same regard when it comes to the teaching of the Holy See, especially if they regard circumstances. And I'm going to do that
from the left side,
when I come back
the right side,
from a short break.
Peeking his head out. There it is. Back to the bottom again.
Here's what to look for in August on WTN. There's a host of live events in August, starting with the Knights of Columbus 130th Supreme Convention in Anaheim, California.
Try to stay behind Luna's cage so that it will not get alarmed or scared.
And make holy the way for our Virgin Mary's arrival into heaven as we celebrate the solemn Mass of the Assumption from the Basilica
I can see the legs down there.
Plus, join us for the Catholic University of America, Mass of the Holy Spirit, opening the new academic year. August brings a great lineup to our live shows on EWTN Live. Part of this talk will welcome Danny along with Peter Herbert, Curtis Martin, and Ryan Patrick. The all-new episodes of Crossing the Goal. And later, Dr. William
There it
Ryan
is.
explores the obstacles that Americans
Drinking
face
water.
to civil and religious freedoms. And be sure to tune into Life on the Rock as Chris Stefani joins Father Mark and Doug to talk about relativism and morality. New features for the month include a look at EWTN's fall season with Doug Keck and the EWTN season preview.
Funny that that bird is here, and I see no other birds around.
Study of the Gospels with Catholic Way Bible Study. Then, go
Finally.
behind the scenes with actors Martin Dubois and Joseph Griffin for a Catholic perspective on the entertainment business in Hollywood Acting Studio Discussion. And EWTN On Location goes to Birmingham, Alabama for the Strong Men, Strong Faith Conference with Catholic convert Alex Jones and San Diego Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers. All this and more in August on EWTN.
Welcome back to the series, both as servant and free. I've been explaining the three moral determinants which the Catholic Church uses to determine right from wrong. And I was discussing the determinant of circumstances. A circumstance can affect the judgment concerning a moral action, because it can make one moral action to be of another kind, or it can make something light or heavy, aggravated or not so important. And the judgment of circumstances is something which is very, very difficult because there can be so many involved. Sometimes, in the teaching of the magisterium, there can be legitimate differences of opinion over circumstances, not objects. Such is the case, for example, in killing in a given war or capital punishment regarding even teachings of the Holy See. Cardinal Ratzinger, in his position as head of the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith, wrote a letter in one of the elections.
He finally took off, and it's up there on that tree.
And Cardinal McCarrick,
Can't see it from the.
June 2004,
I mean, it just disappeared.
on the subject of communion for
Anyway, that was neat.
politicians concerning moral